You know that feeling when you walk into a room and just completely blank on why you're even in there? Or maybe you're in the middle of a conversation and you suddenly forget a colleague's name, someone you've worked with for years. You just feel this heavy, thick mental fog settle over your afternoon. Look, it's an incredibly frustrating and deeply relatable problem. And the truth is, if you ignore these early signs of mental fatigue, it can really start chipping away at your confidence. It affects your focus at work, your daily conversations, and just your overall sense of sharpness. Now, you've probably tried those gamified brain training apps, or maybe you've looked into nootropic supplements, only to find that the results fade fast, or they just end up costing an absolute fortune in monthly subscriptions. But based on our research, there's a digital program making significant waves in the cognitive wellness space right now. And interestingly, it doesn't involve swallowing a single pill. In this video, we're taking a deep, honest look at a product called the Memory Masters Protocol.
So the big question we need to answer today is this: can a simple 15-minute daily audio track actually rewire your brain? We are going to investigate this product, which carries some incredibly bold marketing claims, to see if the underlying science actually holds up under scrutiny. Before we get too far in, I want to mention that if at any point you decide this product is right for you, the only safe place to purchase is the official website. I've linked it directly in the description below. More on exactly why that matters in a moment, but for now, let's focus on what this product actually is. Based on our analysis, the Memory Masters Protocol is a digital audio program developed under the guidance of neuroscience specialists. It's been on the market long enough to gather substantial user data, and it is engineered strictly as a digital audio asset, meaning there's no physical product shipped to your door.
Here is exactly what we will unpack today: the core promises, the audio mechanism explained, what the science says, real user experiences, pricing and the fine print, and finally, the conclusion.
Part 1. The core promises. Manifestation versus memory.
Right off the bat, based on our analysis, this product has a somewhat fascinating dual identity. Depending on where you look, it's positioned through two entirely different pitches. On one side of the coin, it's marketed heavily as a manifestation and abundance system. This angle claims it's designed to reprogram your subconscious to attract wealth, purpose, and inner peace. But on the other side, it is strictly positioned as a clinical memory and focus tool, utilizing 40 Hz gamma waves to clear brain fog and sharpen your cognitive recall. It's the exact same underlying digital product, but it's speaking to two very, very different consumer desires.
And honestly, looking at the promotional material brilliantly illustrates the product's split personality. One positioning statement literally tells you that you are just one successful manifestation away from a life of abundance. Meanwhile, the other side plainly and clinically states it is a digital brain wellness program created to support memory performance. In my assessment, the whole manifestation angle is really just a marketing wrapper. It's a shiny exterior for the actual neurological tools sitting underneath. The real core value of this program lies in its physical, or rather auditory, mechanism.
Part 2. The audio mechanism explained, or basically, how it actually works.
So let's look at the ingredients of this digital formula. The active mechanism here isn't a chemical blend. It's a documented neurological phenomenon called brainwave entrainment. In plain English, this is the brain's natural tendency to synchronize its electrical pulses to an external rhythmic stimulus. In the scientific community, it's also known as the frequency-following response. Think of it like a tuning fork for your brain. When you listen to a precisely engineered pulsing sound, your brain naturally begins to match that exact frequency. The Memory Masters Protocol specifically targets the 40 Hz gamma wave frequency. Now, why 40 Hz? Because gamma waves are heavily associated in neurological studies with high-level information processing, peak concentration, and working memory. By exposing your brain to this exact auditory frequency, the goal is to naturally guide your mind into a state of heightened, sustained focus.
The actual routine required to achieve this is incredibly simple, which is definitely one of the reasons it appeals to so many folks. Step 1 is to put on standard stereo over your headphones. This is absolutely crucial. You cannot simply play this through a laptop speaker or your phone because the binaural effect requires distinct, separated audio channels for your left and right ears to work properly. Step 2 is to listen to the 40 Hz gamma track for exactly 15 minutes. You don't need to meditate, chant, or perform complex visualizations. You simply sit quietly and let the audio do the work. Step 3 is to repeat this daily to build a consistent habit, allowing that entrainment effect to compound over time.
Now, you might be wondering, with so many audio tracks on YouTube or Spotify, what makes this specific program different? Based on our research, the Memory Masters Protocol stands out for a few specific reasons in a crowded market. First, its 15-minute session length aligns much more closely with published scientific protocols than competitors who offer shorter, rush 12-minute tracks. The brain simply needs adequate time to synchronize. Second, the manufacturer explicitly claims exact 40 Hz frequency engineering, meaning the track doesn't drift or waver. Finally, there is full transparency in these technical specifications. When we compare that to rivals like the memory wave, those alternatives often fail to disclose their exact frequency parameters, leaving you guessing about what you're actually listening to.
Part 3. What the science says. Evaluating the research impartially.
Let's look at the evidence objectively, because it's important to have realistic expectations. On the supporting side, the Genus research program out of MIT has investigated 40 Hz stimulation for over a decade. A comprehensive review shows dozens of labs corroborate that this specific stimulation produces measurable effects on brain function and clearance mechanisms. Furthermore, a pilot study by Sharpen colleagues in 2020 found directional improvements in cognitive scores over 4 weeks using 40 Hz binaural beats. However, to keep this entirely balanced and honest, we must also look at a 2023 study by Borges and colleagues. This was a null result study, meaning they found no significant changes in memory tasks or EEG entrainment in their 30 subjects. So what the evidence suggests is a mixed picture. While the underlying mechanism is a very real, documented phenomenon, variables like frequency accuracy, session length, and your own individual neurology heavily influence the final outcome.
And it is absolutely vital to emphasize this next point. None of the cited academic research constitutes a clinical evaluation of the Memory Masters protocol specifically. The researchers at MIT and Harvard have not evaluated, tested, or endorsed this commercial product. The underlying science of brainwave entrainment is real and actively studied, but this specific audio track has no independent clinical validation of its own. You are relying entirely on the manufacturer's translation of that broad science into this specific digital format.
Part 4. Real user experiences. Looking at 60-day test results. So what can you realistically expect if you start using this? Based on our analysis of detailed, independent review logs, such as those documented by a health researcher named Natasha Morgan, the timeline for results is very gradual. During week 1, users typically report a slight tingling sensation and a feeling of general relaxation, but absolutely no real memory changes. It is definitely not an overnight fix. By weeks 2 and 3, users often note that their brain fog begins lifting, and word retrieval, like remembering that colleague's name, becomes noticeably faster. By weeks 4 through 8, consistent users report sustained focus and significantly decreased mental fatigue during their workdays. The takeaway here is that it takes weeks of consistent daily use for the brain to truly adapt to the stimulation process.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the abstract science translates into everyday practical benefits. As reviewer Natasha Morgan documented in her independent log, she stated, "I noticed I wasn't rewriting my to-do list 6 times a day. I started recalling names of old acquaintances with surprising ease." This highlights the practical daily relief from cognitive friction that most users are actually seeking when they turn to a product like this.
In my assessment, let's break down the objective pros and cons you need to weigh before making a decision. On the pro side, number 1, it's a very simple 15-minute daily habit. Number 2, there are no pills involved, making it entirely non-invasive. Number 3, it carries a highly generous 365-day refund policy. And number 4, there are absolutely no hidden auto-ship subscriptions. Now, on the flip side, we have to look at the cons. Number 1, it strict requires over-ear headphones to work. Number 2, you need a dedicated quiet space away from distractions. Number 3, you must commit for 3 to 4 weeks of daily use to actually feel the results. Number 4, there is no physical CD available, so you have to be somewhat comfortable with digital files. And a minor 5th con. Some users report a mild, temporary adjustment headache during the first few days of use as their brain gets used to the frequency. So who is this for? It's highly suitable for adults noticing mild age-related brain fog or focus issues. However, if you're experiencing severe cognitive decline or require a clinically proven medical treatment, this is not for you, and you should absolutely consult a doctor.
Part 5. Pricing and the fine print. Let's talk about the purchasing logistics.
The product is currently priced at a one-time fee of $39. Based on our research, this is often discounted from a higher retail price on the official site. But the most crucial point here is that this is a single, one-time digital purchase. There are no hidden auto-ship subscriptions, and you are not going to be unexpectedly billed every month. For that one-time payment, the digital package is delivered immediately to your email inbox. It includes the core 15-minute gamma audio track, an additional gamma wave booster, a deep sleep wave audio track utilizing delta frequencies to aid overnight memory consolidation, the memory diet meal plan, focusing on brain-supportive nutrition, and a 7-day memory reboot challenge to help you structure your first week.
I always recommend engaging with the entire, full package rather than just listening to the audio alone. Cognitive routines and supplements take real time to work, and utilizing the diet plan and sleep tracks alongside the main audio gives you the best, most comprehensive foundation for actually seeing results.
And this brings us to one of the most significant factors, the 365-day money-back guarantee. The manufacturer provides a full year for you to test this product. This is practically unheard of and is roughly 4 times the category standard. It means you have ample time to test the program, see if the entrainment actually works for your specific neurology, and if it doesn't, you can request a refund without any financial risk.
However, I must issue a very urgent and critical buyer warning right now. Because of this product's popularity, there are fake, counterfeit versions heavily circulating on third-party marketplaces like Amazon and eBay. With digital audio, purchasing a cheap knockoff often means getting compressed, corrupted audio files where that exact 40 Hz frequency is completely destroyed, making the product completely useless. Counterfeits in this space have caused real frustration, wasted money, and ruined the experience for a lot of people. The genuine program is exclusively sold via ClickBank on the official website. The link I've placed in the description takes you directly to the official website, not a reseller, not a third-party listing. That is the only link I share because it is the only source I trust to guarantee you get the properly engineered audio files and the authentic 365-day refund policy.
Part 6. The conclusion. Our final thoughts.
In my honest final assessment, this program is a fascinating intersection of flashy manifestation marketing and actual 40 Hz cognitive neuroscience. It is a solid, low-effort daily wellness tool. But let me be perfectly clear, it is not a magic cure, and it absolutely will not work overnight. If you are an adult dealing with mild, frustrating forgetfulness, and you are willing to sit quietly with headphones for 15 minutes a day for a month, this is a scientifically intriguing, risk-free option to help sharpen your focus. But if you know you lack the patience for a daily routine and won't stick with it, you should save your money and skip this entirely.
It really leaves us with a compelling final thought. Where exactly do we draw the line between the psychological power of subconscious manifestation and the measurable electrical effects of auditory neuroscience? Perhaps they are just 2 different ways of describing the exact same process of mental optimization. Remember, if you want to explore this protocol safely and get the authentic files, the official link is right there in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive into the research, and I'll see you in the next video.